ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Ultra Confusion interview. This time we have Trey.
How's it going, everybody?
So, Trey, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
So, my name is Trey, and my company is Stormseeker Games, and we're working on a game called Infinite Adventures. A little bit about myself. I've been in development for about 7 or 8 years now. I used to work on League of Legends for a couple years, and I left Riot, and now I've been kind of working on an indie game for myself.
So tell us a little bit about your game.
Yeah, so Infinite Adventures is a dungeon crawling RPG. So it's a kind of a classic old school inspired game in that we kind of reach back into like some of the RPGs of the 80s and 90s and then kind of take that old formula and update it and put new mechanics and good graphics on it to kind of update what is really an old classic style.
And you've been working on it how long?
Working on the game for about 3 years, since October 2014. October 1st, 2014, I remember that day. So it's been about 3 years in development at this point.
And what would you say in the past 3 years has potentially been one of the biggest hurdles you've had to overcome?
Yeah, so that's an easy one for me. So I had a failed Kickstarter. So about a year and a half ago, I had a failed Kickstarter, and it was one of probably the best things that could have happened to me, because I feel like as an indie game dev, sometimes you're just in the darkness and you're making your game and you don't know if it's good. And so on one hand, I could have easily just quit because it was like, wow, I just failed a Kickstarter. Like, that's really publicly embarrassing.
Right.
But it was the best thing that could have happened for the game because it taught me so much about what I needed to do to improve the game and just made the whole team more motivated afterwards. That was definitely the biggest challenge, but it was a good thing in the end to kind of fail a little bit and learn from it.
So would you say, you mentioned Kickstarter, and I
Yeah.
know that a lot of independent creators run into this issue of they're not marketing it right, or perhaps they're focusing too much or too little. Did you run into that?
It was not enough marketing.
Okay.
At the time that I had done the Kickstarter, I mean, I'm an indie game dev. I'm not a marketing person at all.
Right.
And I'd always heard, and hey, you know, that's really important. And honestly, it just wasn't something that you really know until you try to do a Kickstarter and you're like, wait, like no one's even visiting my page hardly. And so it was a really good lesson to learn the hard way. But since then, I've gotten some help, and now we do social media posts, and we've got a Facebook and a Twitter and an Instagram and a website and a lot of things that back then I kind of taken for granted because I literally went out and bought an indie game marketing book like the next day after I failed it and was like, okay, I need to buy a marketing book and just like learn about this. So it was a good thing overall.
So what platform or platforms are you looking to get this game out
So the
on?
game will be released later this year. We're going to be on Steam, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. So pretty good swath of whatever, you know, whether it's PC or gaming console that you have, that the game will be out on.
Cool. And so do you have any advice or words of wisdom to those that are trying to begin their travels into the indie development?
Yeah. So that's the best advice that I would give people is like, don't just play your game yourself. Like, take what you think is the core experience of your game that you think is going to be fun and develop it as fast as possible. Don't go get fancy art for it. Literally make the game with just like boxes and spheres and tell your friends like, hey, is this fun? Then go find people that aren't your friends that are their friends who aren't going to sugarcoat opinions. And the sooner that you can iterate and prototype till you get to what makes your game fun, the better I think chance you're going to have a success.
So one of the things that I hear a lot with indie developers is that your game does not have to look like a finished project right off the bat.
Yes.
So I'm sure that you probably...
Yeah, this game, I'm telling you, like, people are like, oh, wow, look at this really cool picture. Like, this girl wasn't in the game until like a year and a half in. For the first year and a half of the game, the entire game was nothing but placeholder art. I mean, literally just like boxes. Instead of characters, it was just like stick figures. So yeah, a year and a half. And it's kind of hard as a dev because you're like, wow, this doesn't look good. But you just have to tell yourself, like, no, this is me making sure that the core, because once you start making art, you can't really, it's hard to go back. And so you got to make sure that, like, you've got the core experience down before you put time and potentially money into getting art. And then you realize, like, oh, wow, maybe I should have done something differently.
Right.
Yeah.
So where can individuals find out more information about the game and your company?
Sure. So the best place goes to our website, www.infiniteadventuresgame.com. You can find links to our Steam page there. You can also find links to all of our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your social, YouTube, whatever your social media of choice is. But infiniteadventuresgame.com is the best place to go to get information.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to let me interview you. The best of luck and success in your game, and hopefully this is a jumping off point to get even more games under your belt.
Cool. All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.